Today was a big day for competitive Fortnite. We got an announcement from Fortnite Competitive about when the next FNCS could be, or it could even be a massive tournament like a Winter Royale. I'm going to talk about what it is, what I think it's going to be. We also had the FNCS Pickaxe being announced, the new one, and let's just say a lot of people weren't too happy with it. I also have to talk about even more team drama. We now have Canada, Akon, and Mero confirmed splitting, and it has affected Clix and his new trio. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Before we get into talking about what's going on with this mini FNCS or Winter Royale, whatever it is, let's talk about the team swaps. I just made a video about this yesterday. We already have even more. So Bolts did end up playing with Clix and Rise. I was correct in that prediction. I'm pretty proud of that one. But unfortunately for Clix and Rise fans, it lasted less than 24 hours. They played one scrim session together and did really well. And straight after that, Bolts was asked by Canada and Akon to trio with them, and he has taken that opportunity. So we now have Canada, Akon, and Bolts, meaning Clix and Rise no longer have a third. Muzz is going back to OC. I see a lot of people suggesting maybe Muzz should go back to playing with him. They look like a crazy trio. I still think Rise seems to be a little bit touchy around Muzz and Muzz dropping him. I don't know why Clix hasn't really been in that talk as well. I guess Rise maybe sees it as Muzz is the reason why he got dropped and Clix just went along with it. But that also means Mero is now looking for a trio. This is the most decorated player in Fortnite history when it comes to trios. So very interesting to see that Mero has been dropped. Obviously, a lot of people saying, Mero's fallen off. He's not as good as he used to be, but Mero, Canada, and Akon just won the first trio cash cup. Obviously, they didn't make finals in the second one. I already talked about that. It is a pretty rough meta right now. I wasn't really freaking out about them not making the finals in the second week. A lot of really good teams haven't made finals both weeks, but apparently it was enough to lead Canada and Akon to think he wasn't good enough. They've picked up Bolts, and that is looking like a very scary trio. So I'm not sure where Mero is going to end up. I'm sure he's going to end up on a really good team, but it's worth mentioning that means now the team that won the first trio cash cup on EU and NA have both now split. So when I keep telling you guys not to trust any trio that exists right now until FNCS starts, you know I mean it. None of these trios are safe. Everyone is still snaking. I'm guessing it'll calm down a little bit as we go into the next season and people have to lock down drop spots, and FNCS is right around the corner, which might be even sooner than what we thought. I'll talk about that in a second, but it's another Aussie video, more snakenings. I'm guessing this is just how trios is going to go, and you guys are hopefully going to enjoy the content of me talking about every single team that splits up. Now, Mero also didn't handle this particularly well. He did go on Faxity's stream, and he wasn't super happy with Canada Akon dropping him. This is clearly not something that he saw coming or that he thought he deserved. He thought he had an extremely pivotal role in that team, and I think Mero is going to be looking to find an extremely good trio to try to prove that he wasn't the problem with that team. Now, let's talk about what's going on in Fortnite Competitive and potentially FNCS. So, Fortnite Comp tweeted today, make sure to be free on December 7th, winky face. A lot of people started guessing what this could be. Could this be Winter Royale? Are they going to announce what's going with FNCS? Then they replied, hint, it's FNCS related. So that helped a little bit, but not that much. Now, one of the main things I keep seeing is people thinking this is going to be an announcement about what's going on with FNCS, because so far, this year has followed a very similar structure to last year, and based on that, I was expecting FNCS to start maybe in the early February, maybe late January, after Epic goes on Christmas break. We're going to kick off Chapter 6 Season 1 on December 1st or 2nd. We already know that. That would give them usually a couple weeks of running cash cups like they normally do. Then they would go on their Christmas break, come back around mid to late January, cash cups and FNCS starts up then. But based on this tweet, I'm a little bit confused now. Everyone's saying it's going to be an announcement of what's going on with FNCS, and that could be true, but Fortnite has already stated on other official platforms like the blog post that we're going to find out what's going on with FNCS and the roadmap for 2025 later this month. Later this month is not December 7th, so I think this might be something else entirely. Now, we obviously were originally thinking it might be a Winter Royale when we saw the first tweet about being free December 7th. That is perfect timing with Christmas in a few weeks. It's going to be the start of the new chapter. A Winter Royale would be massive to capitalize on all the hype from the community, get a lot of people playing the game, and it could be really awesome. We've been missing it for the last few years. It used to be such a big staple of competitive, an event they would run every year, and everyone loved it, but then they said it's FNCS related. So maybe it could be like a Winter Royale, but it's just themed around FNCS, or maybe this could be a mini FNCS. Like, we've had solo FNCS All-Stars in the past and events like that, where we had 2 FNCSs in one season. We haven't had one of those for a really long time, so it could just be like a mini FNCS they run within a couple weeks. I really hope it isn't just the start of the regular FNCS, because we know Epic is going to go on Christmas break, or at least there will be some kind of break around, you know, December 25th to the new year. Like, almost every major company in the world will usually take some kind of a break there, or a lot of their staff members will anyway. It's a lot of public holiday days. Just running anything over that time period is a nightmare, and we can't do an FNCS in 2 weeks. If they start on December 7th, that really only gives them 2 weeks to get anything done, and I hope we're not running the major FNCS for only 2 weeks, and I hope we're not running like a regular 4 to 5 week FNCS with a massive break in the middle. Like, we have 1 or 2 qualifiers, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right guys, we're gonna take a 3-week break and we'll get back into it. That's gonna feel really, really weird. So I'm hoping it's either like a Winter Royale or a mini FNCS. I'm kind of hoping it's not just an announcement, because it always feels really weird to announce an announcement that then is going to give you more information. Like, just make the announcement. If we already know what's going on, more information ahead of time is always better. So I'm sorry I can't really give you much info. My other thought, which is a bit of a weird one, and I could be completely wrong on this, they might start some kind of a system where there's other tournaments that qualify you to FNCS. December 7th would not be a weird time for tournaments to start for the new Chapter 6 Season 1. So what if those tournaments are somehow like a way to get into FNCS earlier than regular FNCS? I'm kind of thinking how we had divisional cups in the past. If they did something like that based around FNCS, not just an open format where you have to have a rank to get in, that could be really cool. And a lot of people have talked about this for a long time, making it like you need to get a certain amount of points in a certain amount of tournaments to even play in FNCS. Now, that always does upset a lot of casuals who want to just jump in and play FNCS. I get that. But it's supposed to be the most important tournament of every single season. It's supposed to be the best of the best going at it. I think it's really cool. The players can just turn up and get a chance to play in opens, and if they're not particularly good, they won't make it out of round 1 anyway. And in a good format, that's totally fine. But Epic could be trying to go down a route more like a traditional esport, where there is a longer qualifying process just to get into FNCS. This would also help a lot with the cheater issue that's going on right now. If you've watched any tournaments, you've watched any of my videos, I don't like to talk about cheaters. I don't like to give them attention, but they are a very relevant factor in tournaments. When you have players losing tournaments because they go down to a cheater one game and that's what costs them the tournament, it's a relevant factor. And while cheating is at this point basically impossible to stop, this isn't just the thing that Fortnite can just throw money out. We can't just get a better anti-cheat. The anti-cheat pretty much is as good as it can. Every single online game right now is having issues with cheaters, and Fortnite's the game that's running tournaments for free that anyone can show up and play in and try to earn money in. So it's become like a competition now where cheaters are trying to make the best cheat possible so they can then use that to make the money back. It becomes like an investment, where most other games where people are just cheating because they're bored and they suck and they just want to feel what it's like to win, that's more of an issue in Fortnite. Those are games that don't even have prize money tournaments, and people are still spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get good cheats just to play the game for no reward. In Fortnite, you can get the cheat and hope that maybe you get away with it and you end up getting paid out, and it's like an investment. So cheating is a bit of an issue. A format like that could maybe help with this. I could be completely wrong, and it's just an announcement. But that's my best guess right now, is we're getting something that leads to FNCS even earlier than FNCS. While we are on the topic of FNCS, I do need to talk about the FNCS Pickaxe reveal. We now have Winners Wanted, the Blade of Champions. And while the Blade of Champions sounds really cool, this pickaxe is questionable. It's not my favorite of the pickaxes we've seen. A lot of people were commenting that this is not a sweat pickaxe. Like, why would you make it so big? It looks so massive. The regular pickaxe is pretty massive. The original pickaxe, there was a lot of people who didn't like the original FNCS pickaxe at the time. I feel like more people looking back like the original FNCS axe than at the time. There was so many pros who wore it and would never use it because they said it sounded terrible, it looked terrible, it was way too big. Then for some reason, when they made the second FNCS pickaxe, a lot of people really missed the first one. I don't know if it was like kind of a nostalgia thing, or maybe it was a flex because, you know, now you can just buy the FNCS pickaxe too. It makes it a lot less exciting, but the FNCS pickaxe has always been pretty gigantic. And I get it's not really the pickaxe you'd use if you were a sweat traditionally, but I feel like if you win something and you're the only person on your region to have it, you want it to be a bit noticeable. You don't want it to be small, you kind of want it to stand out. But This one could be really interesting. I don't hate it as much as other people do, but I'm a 30-year-old boomer. I think my taste in things is terrible for most kids. So I'm guessing me kind of liking it is probably even more of an example of why it's terrible. So I'm not going to sit here and defend Epic because I think that only hurts them even more. I'll let you make up your own mind whether you like this or not, but there was a lot of pros in the comments of this. Absolutely flaming Epic.